Hey gang, what's going on? So, Yankees are in a precarious spot, right? They've lost 6 out of 7, and this is their first batch of adversity that they're facing this year. And the question is, do they have the personnel to help them recover from the adversity? I'm more on the doubtful side than I am now. So, because of the fact that, well, a couple things. Number one, they have a Joey Gallo problem, and they also have an Aroldis Chapman problem. Both of them combined cost up about $30 million in Yankee payroll. And the Yankees are going to pay the salary no matter what. No matter what. And I think they have a trade deadline problem that's combined with that because neither one of them has any trade value. So at this point, it probably makes more sense to DFA and eventually release the two of these guys because I don't see either one on the playoff roster. And if they make the playoff roster, if the Yankees make the playoffs still, I think it'll be a detrimental piece to the roster. And we want as good of a roster as possible. Those guys are not, I don't trust any of those guys against Houston or Boston or whatever. Or even other teams, Minnesota, Chicago, Tampa, whoever makes the playoffs, Texas, whoever makes the playoffs, doesn't matter. I don't trust either one of them, unfortunately, and I don't think many other folks can trust them. But I don't want to get it to the point where it's affecting the team chemistry and the team morale any more than it might already be doing. So moving them, and even if you bring up guys like Castro, right, and Estevan Florial and Miguel AndujaR, or a combination of them, and Clark Schmidt for the bullpen. I don't think they're going to be needle movers. I don't think any one of these guys is going to put them in the World Series, be the equalizer, because I do think the Yankees need to trade for a couple of established good major league pieces to do that. But they could at the very least be stepping stones or building blocks. And again, that's me. The Yankees are going to pay this money for Chapman and Gallo one way or the other. We might as well get better production out of the position, even if they're not playing. And if these young kids can give us better position and better production, why would we not play them over these guys? I mean, it's time to take it on the chin and just keep it moving. Okay, that's it. I mean, they're not going to get, I don't think they're going to get, I should say, the value that they gave up for Gallo. Okay, they're not going to recoup that in 2 weeks. And they're not going to, they're not going to get their money's worth for Aroldis Chapman either. Would they be picked up by other teams if they're released? Yeah, probably. But at that point, who cares? Who cares? I mean, we got to put the Yankees in a better position. And again, they don't have the personnel to beat Houston right now in the playoffs. They don't. So getting these guys and giving some of these younger kids an opportunity to give them a jolt of energy, okay, maybe a jolt of just fire and different attitude would be a wise thing. I mean, what Chapman did last night really, and it wasn't that he gave up the go-ahead home run. Instead, he did the stare down after he struck the next guy out. That really rubbed me the wrong way. That was a dick move. It's like the same thing as pointless as the Red Sox doing the stupid shopping cart ride in the dugout after they hit a home run. Or the jacket thing from the Toronto Blue Jays. It's just an idiotic thing to do. What's the point, right? And at this point, honestly, he's doing mop-up work or low-leverage situations, and he's getting paid $18 million a year. What's the point of keeping him here? I'd rather have Clark Schmidt throwing a couple innings of solid ball, right? And I'd rather have AndujaR's, bat or Castro's speed or Florial's combination of things. I'd rather have those things in the lineup right now. And again, it can give the other guys an opportunity to rest. They need to rest some guys because the team looks tired too. They look sluggish, okay? And again, this is, the Yankees, their magical run has gone so far. And then when it stops, what do? You have to make tweaks. And these are the types of tweaks I think the Yankees need to make to continue on and go back up that upward trajectory right now. Okay? And whether it's Ian Happ or Dave, whatever they decide to trade for, we've talked about that. I'll give you my trade deadline predictions coming up soon, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that type of stuff. I'm going to go live on trade deadline day as well. And my trade deadline predictions have changed now because of the status of certain players and performance of certain teams recently. So it's been changing over the last couple of days, and I think it'll be a more accurate depiction of where I think it'll stand. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anything happens on trade deadline day, but I think these two moves, DFAing Gallo and DFAing Chapman right now and not waiting to try to recoup value that the chances of them recouping are close to zero, would be a wise idea, and giving some young bodies and some young voices in here a chance to play who want to play. Castro's just been sitting there in AAA. AndujaR and Florial tearing the cover off the ball. Okay? So might as well give them a chance to play. And if they play really well, they also become trade candidates. And somebody said, well, if you want my pitcher, you got to give up AndujaR. Okay, it might increase the chances of them trading these guys for a bigger piece that the Yankees need, because there isn't a chance in the world any of these teams are going to be like, the Reds are going to be like, oh, well, I'll take Chapman for Castillo. As part, I'll take Gallup. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, I know this is where I think the Yankees would be wise to make a move right now and not wait. I know Cashman likes to wait until the end when the prices go down, but the fact is ace prices generally never go down. So Castillo's price is just going to go up. Okay, especially if the Dodgers, and especially if you realize that the Astros are in now, it's going to drive up the price. And then they're going to be looking for a team to outbid the other teams. That's what happens. It's like what happened a few years ago when the Dodgers traded for Manny Machado. They gave up 5 prospects. 5 for him. For 2 months of Manny Machado. This is the type of stuff that happens. So, yeah, I think they'd be wise to do this right now. 2 moves. And then set themselves up to make it easier maybe to make the corresponding moves after that. Give them a little bit more breathing room, a little bit more time. You know, Miguel Castro's going on IL now too. And it's crazy because generally the rotation has generally been the area that's suffered the injuries. And it hasn't been that much this year. It's been only Luis Severino. Their bullpen is where it's getting beat up with injuries. It's like the flip side this year. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. And those are the strengths of the early season, right? The bullpen and the rotation. Aside from some offensive performance by Aaron Judge and a couple other guys. But the bullpen, without the bullpen, we wouldn't be where we're at. Without the rotation, we wouldn't be where we're at. But the fact is they need to make additions in that. And again, shopping at the bargain store is not necessarily going to put them on Fifth Avenue, right, or Diamond Row. So they're going to have to realize this too. We want the big pieces, we have to give up big pieces. We want difference makers at the major league level, we have to give up difference makers at the minor league level. And major league level in some cases too. That's what has to happen right now. So, but let's get into this. You know, I don't want you to miss these types of things. So let's have a discussion about it. I want to get your thoughts. You know, does anybody else need to go too? I know some people have been saying Higgy. He's part of a good tandem right now with Trevino. I wouldn't mess with that, especially Trevino being an all-star. And there's no way in the world I'm trading IKF. He's the short. I mean, I don't see the point in the obsession with so many people just dogging IKF when he hasn't been causing them to lose games. Like, he's not the reason that they're losing games. So I don't see the logic in that discussion at all. At all. And who are we going to get for him? Peraza? He's not proven at the major league level. What if he comes up here and stinks up the joint? Like Florial did. And then what's going to happen then? Oh, well, we traded him away. We don't have anybody. What are you going to do then? What are we going to do then? So I don't want to go down that road. I think that's a bad road to go down. Plus, he's under control for another season on a cheap contract. Doesn't cost $35 million a year. So that, to me, makes sense, too. I know Donaldson is part of he's the overpaid player in the trade, but that's besides the point. That's besides the point. That's for another day, another discussion, because they're not the ones that are the big problem on the team. But let's get into this. Let's reconstruct this Yankees team, and how do we do it? Over now.